Your friend had such a fun time at my house today. Breaking up my porch. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
good.
he
Maybe
said
balance, you know what I mean?
he didn't want to replace the slabs, and he says, "Why don't he says if
for the
there?"
porch?
He said because it was cracking, there's probably water
Yeah.
inside, and
Yeah.
there was. So
It's,
yeah.
it's like,
Well, I've been living with him now since last Tuesday. Every morning, he got there this morning, and it was like 20 to 8. And I only had my pants on, not my top. So I said to him, "No, you're early. You got to wait until I put something over on the top of me because I only got my pants on." He must think I'm a crazy lady.
Was that a Zoom meeting, Joe?
He must think I'm a crazy lady. I'm really. I mean, he must think. So I said to him, I said, "You know, Jim said he didn't pay you." I said, "You know,
just
he
gonna say something to
asked
Hank.
me for a check tonight."
oh, thanks.
He said to me, "No, no, no, he paid me. He paid me."
I think you're still in custody.
Huh?
Another diner.
Yeah, I told her because she said she needs work now. I'm going to give him I'm going to give him her name.
Oh, yeah. He's gonna stop shopping.
One stop.
And he like, if there's any on there, he does stuff himself. No.
Oh,
Yeah, I know, I call him
Noah
Noah
too.
too.
I didn't know
Spanish,
that.
Mexican.
Okay, yeah.
So,
No, I'll give you,
Yeah.
I'll give you the number and I'll give him your name. So when you call him.
Not well.
yeah.
I play like so. I'm on the.
No, he's really good. And I,
yeah.
and he really,
Yeah.
I was impressed. He took all of the caulking off the windows, and then he put clear on, and then he put the white caulking on. But now he's gonna paint everything too.
Yeah, they're squeezed. See, this one is coming in between now.
Okay? We're okay? Okay. Good evening, everyone. Township of Edison Zoning Board of Adjustment regular meeting is now in session. Adequate notice of this meeting, as required by the Open Public Meetings Act of 1975, has been provided by the annual notice published in the Home News and Tribune on January 2022, and has been posted in the main lobby of the municipal complex on January 5, 2022. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please, Cassandra.
Mr. Ayotte?
Here.
Ms. Shaw?
Present.
Mr. Bignell? Mr. Chabra?
Here.
Mr. Patel?
Here.
Mr. Skibar?
Here.
Mr. O'Gorman?
Here.
Mr. Barone?
Here.
Mr. Dave?
Here.
Mr. Siddhartha?
Here.
Vice Chair Kamba?
Here.
And Chairwoman Federick.
Here. Thank you, Cassandra. Good evening, everyone. I usually start the meeting, as I have been for the past year, with a little summary, and that's the way I will start this evening. I've been reading this summary since last summer prior to meetings so that the public will be more informed as they watch the meetings or are here in person, because there have been so many misconceptions as to this board. That is, as to how it operates, including what it may consider and may not consider, and its procedures in hearings. First of all, we are all volunteers and we do not get paid. We are appointed by council. We all have to attend a state training course, and we have our own in-house session when it is deemed necessary and appropriate. Naturally, during COVID, we were not able to do any in-house training. This year, we have had one in-house training. As I have said at prior meetings, the municipal land use law is the legal Bible by which this board operates, along with its own bylaws. This board differs greatly from the planning board. This board is quasi-judicial. That is, it is like a court, and its members like judges, and its impartiality rules and necessity to address matters are in accordance with laws that are same throughout the state, not only our town. Being impartial means board members are not to discuss the matter with the public until the matter is being heard at a meeting. The board has always and continues to proceed in the following manner. All matters concerning an application are not addressed by this board until the applicant's case is presented at a meeting. The board engages in no discussions and receives the applicant's submissions only days prior to the applicant's scheduled date. When the applicant has presented its testimony and evidence, the public portion is open to residents within 200 feet of the subject property, then those outside of 200 feet of the property. Each person is given only one chance to speak. All public are sworn in and subject to cross-examination by the applicant. The board and board professionals, the public may then ask questions to the applicant and their experts and board professionals. The law allows me as chair to stop anyone from being repetitive in their objections or to attempt to filibuster the board. Such redundancy in conduct prevents the efficient operation by the board. By law, as chair, I am also permitted to stop anyone from speaking if what they are saying is irrelevant to the case and prohibited from the board's consideration. I am also permitted to restrict all public comment to a time frame considered reasonable, which I have limited to 5 minutes in the past and reserve that right. I say this and stress this. Giving objectors 5 minutes each to speak has been upheld as reasonable in a decision of the New Jersey Superior Court Appellate Division. And I'm also know for a fact that there is a town in Somerset County that gives objectors 3 minutes to speak. I am not required to tolerate disruption or disrespect to this board. Once the public portion is closed, that is when I hit the gavel, it is closed and no one from the public will speak again. It will not be reopened under any circumstances unless new testimony is provided in the matter. The applicant has the right of summation and the board then votes. This has been the procedure of this board for more than 20 plus years, and its procedure or similar procedures are followed by every zoning board in the state of New Jersey. The board has an obligation to engage in a balancing act and is not required to strictly apply the township ordinances, its own plan, or the master plan, which is permitted by the municipal land use law. This is statewide conduct by all boards of adjustment. As the name of the board suggests, we are a board of adjustment, adjustment being the operative word. Variances are granted when appropriately necessary, following all legal considerations. Having said all of the above, the board has and does reserve the right to cease all proceedings as we near 10:30. Thank you. Before we have our first case, I need a motion from our board to authorize the TRC to be the waiver committee for the zoning board.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please, Cassandra.
Mr. Skibar,
Yes to the motion.
Mr. O'Gorman,
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Barone,
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Dave,
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Siddhartha,
Yes to the motion.
Vice Chair Kamba,
Yes on the motion.
and Chairwoman Frederick.
Yes on the motion. Thank you. Cassandra, first case, please.
Yes. Case number Z22-2022, Alensha Gorier, 56 Pleasant Avenue, Edison, New Jersey, 08837, Section 3763-1. Bulk variances sought to construct a two-story addition to the existing single-family dwelling. Max building coverage permitted is 23%, proposed is 30.3%. Max lot coverage permitted is 40%, proposed is 59.4%. Affected property is located in the RB zone designated as block number 694P, lot numbers 5 and 6 on the Edison Township tax map. All paperwork is in order.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Are you going to speak for the applicant? Or
Yes,
she-
ma'am, I am.
Okay, Ms. Shaw will swear you in, please.
Sir, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
And would you please provide your full name?
Sure, it's Miguel Martin, registered architect.
Okay, Mr. Martin, what would you like to tell us this evening about the applicant and what she would like to do?
Okay. So the applicant proposes a two-story rear addition. On the first floor, the addition will enlarge the existing rear bedroom and provide an additional bathroom. On the second floor, the addition will include a bedroom and a bathroom. The proposed addition is 10 feet, 6 inches deep by 17 feet, 5 inches wide, and will add about 183 square feet on the floor area of the first floor and 273 square feet on the second floor. The proposed addition will have a proposed rear yard of about 45.4 feet, where 30 feet minimum is required. The addition will align with the existing building on the driveway side and will have a 10.96-foot side yard where 6 feet is required. The combined side yard at the addition is about 19.96 feet, where 18 feet is required. The property has an existing non-conforming building coverage of 26.6%, where a maximum of 23% is permitted. The applicant is seeking a variance to increase the building coverage to 30.3% with the proposed addition. The property also has an existing non-conforming lot coverage of 59.4%, where a maximum of 40% is permitted. The proposed addition will not increase nor reduce the lot's impervious coverage because the addition will be constructed over the existing improvements. The proposed addition will increase the floor area ratio from an existing 24.5% to 33.3%, where a maximum of 44% is permitted. The addition will not be taller than the ridge of the existing dwelling and will have exterior finished materials that match the existing dwelling. Because of the landscaping to the right of the driveway, it will be very difficult to see the addition from the street unless you stand in the driveway. The proposed addition is modest and minimal to maximize the use of the existing building. Counting the finished attic as a bedroom, the addition will increase the existing dwelling to a 4-bedroom home. The off-street parking requirement for a 4-bedroom home is 2 parking spots, where the driveway can accommodate up to 4 spots with an additional 2 spots within the detached garage. The applicant's hardship is the undersized lot. If the lot had the minimum conforming lot area of 7,500 square feet, the maximum building coverage would be 1,725 square feet, and the lot coverage would be 3,000 square feet. Both coverage requirements would be conforming, and variances would not be required. That concludes the presentation.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Martin. In effect, you're almost squaring it off.
That's correct, yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go to the board. Does the board have any questions of Mr. Martin? Mr. Conva?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the existing finished attic, you said that you're going to use that as a bedroom?
I'm not sure if it's considered a bedroom, but I was just counting it for the sake of parking.
Okay. But it's on your plan as existing finished attic?
That's correct. And there is a bed up in there.
There is a bed up there?
Yes.
Okay, okay,
Sir.
all right. Just wanted to make sure. Okay. All right, and then the applicant would agree to abide by the conditions of the Township Zoning Report Board Review Letter?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Great, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Conva. Any other questions from the board for Mr. Martin?
Yeah, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. DeVay.
The proposed two-story addition that you have, what is existing there now? It's a
So-
concrete, it's just the dirt?
There's the driveway, the existing driveway extends over to the deck, and the deck actually comes around and meets the house. So the addition would replace the deck and part of the driveway.
So where you're adding two-story addition, it's a wood deck now?
I'm sorry? The
Wherever you're
existing,
adding the two-story structure, what is currently there? It's a grassy area, it's a concrete, it's a wood?
no, sir.
deck?
It's a wood, there's a part of it is a wood deck, and then the rest is pavement, the driveway.
So it is a pervious land now, correct?
Yes, sir.
So now you are adding, making impervious structure.
Well, as far as if you follow my calculation, I wasn't sure if deck was considered part of lot coverage or not, so it was included as lot coverage under my table. So,
My only concern is 59.4% lot coverage. You are basically covering the whole lot almost. The existing detached garage is a non-conforming garage, right?
that's correct, yes.
Would you like to lose the garage? Or you make the existing paved driveway pervious?
Well, that was the reason for coming to the board to see if we didn't have to lose the garage.
How do you make the 59.4 lot coverage to bring it down to some acceptable? You are asking from 40% to almost 50% more lot coverage that you are adding into the lot.
That's understood, but that's a pre-existing condition. The addition itself is being constructed over impervious coverage. So if the applicant is willing, we can certainly look into reducing the driveway if needed.
Can you look into it, talk to her, and then you want to talk to her now?
Here, I'll show you, 1 second.
Can I ask you a question? The existing lot coverage is 59%, correct?
Yes, sir.
Are you increasing that 59%?
No, sir.
Okay.
Oh, so the proposed two-story addition, there was already considered into account the impervious coverage?
It's
How
not
can that be?
No, it's not increasing what is existing now.
Okay, all right. So this was already a concrete or something?
Correct.
Okay, I got it. Okay, no more questions.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Martin?
Madam
Yes, Mr. O'Gorman.
The drainage, where is the drainage gonna go?
For the roof leaders, wherever you feel is necessary. Do I have to discharge to the curb?
This was already a concrete there before.
Normally they just daylight, unless you tell me they have to discharge to the curb or something like that.
I'm
That's
sorry,
not,
sir, you
that's
said.
not actually within our jurisdiction. Mr. Ayotte, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that would fall under the engineering department.
Engineering, yes.
Yeah, when they go for their
Handle it.
permits? Yeah.
Well,
We don't
SIP
step
will be
on
required.
toes on this board.
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Martin from the board?
I know, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Barone.
Mr. Martin,
Yes, sir.
what else is in the finished attic? Can you, besides the bed, how is it finished? Is there any heating? Anything else?
It's heated, right?
Yeah, but not well.
Oh, hold on.
She has to be sworn in if she's going to speak.
Yeah, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth to help you God? Yeah. And please state your full name for the record. If you could please pull the microphone close, because we really do need to hear you loud and clear.
Alensha Guerrier.
Okay.
Okay. My question was, you described the finished attic as finished with a bed, and I asked what else is there in its finishing? Is there any heat? Obviously, there's probably electricity if you use it. Could you just describe how it is finished?
Well, there's 2 radiator heats on our opposite sides, and there's no light in the middle where the bed is, but there's a light like in a hallway.
Okay. Does anyone sleep there regularly?
Yes, my brother.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
One more question. The existing concrete patio that's outside the existing wood deck,
Yes, sir.
would you be willing to remove that one?
This one back here. That concrete patio you have back here?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Does the attic have ingress, egress at all? Window, no window at all?
Not meeting the definition of a habitable attic, if that's where you're going with this.
Okay.
Does not.
There's nothing there. Okay, fine. Any other questions of the board? None? Okay, go out to the public. Anyone within 200 feet of the property wanting to be heard? Anyone outside of 200 feet of the property wanting to be heard? There being none, I'll close the case, and I'll go to the board, please, for a motion.
Madam Chair?
Yes, Mr. Skipper.
I'll make a motion to approve this application.
Then,
Applicant will comply with the engineer's report, and then it's also not detrimental to the neighborhood, and the applicant agrees to remove the concrete patio that's outside the wooden deck.
do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please, Cassandra?
Mr. Skibar,
Yes to the motion.
Mr. O'Gorman,
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Barone,
Yes.
Mr. Dave,
Yes to the motion.
Mr. Siddhartha,
Yes to the motion.
Vice Chair Kamba,
Yes on the motion.
and Chairwoman Frederick.
Yes on the motion. Thank you, thank you.
Thank you
Good
very much.
evening. Stay safe, stay healthy.
Case number Z13, 2022, Chagan Patel, 114 and 120 Overbrook Road, Edison, New Jersey, 08817, minor subdivision to include a lot line adjustment being sought along with bulk and use or D variances. Applicant is proposing to construct a new home on lot 27 at 120 Overbrook. Lot area required is 7,500 square feet, proposed is 5,159.5 square feet. Lot width required is 75 feet and proposed is 51.60 feet. Front yard setback required is 25 feet, proposed is 16.43 feet. Building coverage permitted is 23%, proposed is 24%. Max FAR permitted is 0.44 and proposed is 0.479. No changes to the existing single-family dwelling on lot 12.04 at 114 Overbrook. See application for a list of variances on this property as it pertains to the lot line adjustment. Affected properties are located in the RB zone designated as block number 375K, lot numbers 12.04 and 27 on the Edison Township tax map. All paperwork is in order.
Good evening, Mr. Wiley.
Good evening. I represent the applicant. There are two, I guess, reliefs that we're asking for today. One is what we describe as a lot line adjustment. If you notice, the line is crooked for reasons that I really can't explain, nor can my client, but we would like to rationalize them. The second is one I wanted to correct. I guess the FAR is actually 49.3. The other figure came from an earlier floor area ratio certification, but I guess with the adjustments of lines, et cetera, the real number is 49.3. Now, I have two witnesses tonight. One is the son of the applicant, Shagan Patel, and he will describe the house that is being proposed to be constructed. And then we have Mr. Fletcher, who will outline the various dimensional aspects of this proposal, as well as provide the planning testimony needed to justify a use variance from the FAR. So I would like Mr. Patel to be sworn in first.
Mr. Patel, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God? And please pull the microphone close.
I do.
And state your full name for the record.
Rakesh Patel.
And Mr. Patel, what is your relationship to the applicant?
He's my father.
And have you been involved with your father in designing this new home?
Yes.
Could you describe what you're proposing to put in the way of the new home?
Basically want a bigger house. I have two kids now. I live with my parents, and we basically need more space. Right now, we're crammed into a small house. My house is so old that I gotta keep the AC, the heater, 24/7 because there's no insulation, there's nothing. And, you know, basically just thinking about the future for my kids.
And could you describe the number of rooms that you're proposing?
We're proposing 5 rooms, 4 upstairs, 1 downstairs for my parents because they are getting old now. They're 65 and, you know, they're going to keep growing. So it's better to have 1 room downstairs where they don't have to climb the stairs. We also have a bathroom downstairs for them. So, you know, it makes it easier for them to go in and out.
And could you provide the square footage that the house will be if approved?
I think it's 2,300 square feet.
How about 2473?
24, sorry, yeah.
Okay.
If you say so.
Yeah. 2568. Okay, excuse me. Yeah, I amend that as 2568.
Okay. We going to keep going?
I think that's it. I think that's it.
We're happy with that.
Okay.
Is there any questions the board have of this witness?
I will check, Mr. Wiley. Does the board have any questions of Mr. Patel? Mr. Kamba?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good evening, Mr. Wiley.
Good evening.
Sir, so there's two properties. Which property are you, so you're going to live in the new one, correct?
Yeah, the 120.
120, okay.
114 is my neighbor.
Okay.
We have that crooked line.
Yep.
And, we both have under, it just makes no sense. Why is it crooked? So we just want it straight.
Gotcha. Okay, so he'll remain, his home's going to remain as is?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, thank you very much.
Okay. Any other questions of Mr. Patel? Mr. O'Gorman?
How many bedrooms?
5.
5?
4 upstairs, 1 downstairs. Oh, 1 in the middle.
Drawing says 4.
You have a copy of the drawing? Who's got the architecturals? All right.
Oh, sorry, it's a den. There's just 4 upstairs.
So it's going to be 4 bedrooms and a den,
Yeah.
not a bedroom.
No.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions of Mr. Patel from the board?
There's no second kitchen, right? There's only one kitchen.
Just 1
first
kitchen.
floor.
Yeah.
Any other questions from the board?
I have a general question.
Sure. Go ahead, Mr.
It
Wiley.
was something that I checked on earlier. So you are currently living in the lot of 120, the house?
Yes.
Okay. And the other lot is owned by a neighbor?
Yeah, my neighbor, she's here, Elizabeth.
All right, I was not clear personally on if it was one owner for both lots where you wouldn't need approval of your, 2 approvals.
Oh.
But there's 2 different owners, one
Right,
owns
but
114?
they both signed the application as owners. She's here if the board should have any questions. But basically, her only involvement is to say, yes, I approve of the line being
I understand. Thank you, John.
uniform, okay?
Any other questions of Mr. Patel? Just a statement. I think I'm going to make you laugh. I just love it when these young people call people 65 like his father, me, old.
Well, he is old.
Because I am way over that.
We're contemporary.
Oh, yeah. Okay. With that, let's go to Mr. Fletcher.
Okay.
What's it meant is 65 years young.
Mr. Fletcher, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Please state your full name for the record.
Yes, Paul J. Fletcher.
Even though we see you every month, Mr. Fletcher, let's have your qualifications because it's a new night.
Yes, I'm a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey. I've been the principal of Fletcher Engineering for 30 years. I've been accepted as a professional engineer and planner in numerous board of adjustments and planning boards. I've been in front of the Edison Planning Board and Zoning Board.
Monthly.
Basically monthly, yes.
We'll accept your
And you
qualifications.
still have your licenses.
Yeah,
Yes,
right.
I
He
do.
still has his licenses. We'll accept your qualifications.
Thank you.
All right, if you could describe, let's deal with the subdivision issue first.
Certainly. Property is known as, commonly known as 114 and 120 Overbrook Avenue, lots 12.04 and 27 in block 375. It was K. I'm not sure what it is now. The total area is 10,431. And as you can see from the existing conditions, the line between the 2 lots is at as at an angle, where the frontage of the lot on the right is much greater than its rear, and vice versa. The property on the left, frontage is small, 40 feet versus 63 feet for the rear line. Out of convenience and just to be practical, the applicants and owners would like to straighten the lot line that separates their two properties. So it's proposed that it'll be parallel to, essentially parallel to the sidelines, making both lots rectangular, and it's been sized so that the land that is exchanged is equal, as close as we could get, equal square feet, so that the lot areas change less than half a square foot after the subdivision.
All right, and let's now describe 120 overlook, which will be where the proposed new house will be erected.
Yes, that's proposed lot 2702. This lot, in fact, both lots are encumbered by pipeline easements in the rear. The applicant is proposing to construct a new single-family, four-bedroom dwelling, and there's a number of variances that are requested. Firstly, lot area, which is essentially an existing condition, as is the lot width. Combined side yards.
Mr. Fletcher, can you speak up, please? Thank you. I can hear myself.
Yes, combined side yards where 18 feet is proposed. I'm sorry, we're complying there. Maximum lot coverage by building, 24% is proposed where 23 is allowed. I believe that's a de minimis difference. And lastly, we have the floor area ratio, where 49.8% is proposed, where 44% is allowed in the RB zone. I would point out that were the lots conforming in size, none of these variances would be required except for the front yard setback. Because of the encumbrance of the pipeline easement, which we have to stay away from with any building, certainly any foundations, it sort of pushes the building on 120 Overbrook towards the front, and that's the purpose of the 16.88, sorry, yes, 16.88 front yard variance that's requested. There is adequate off-street parking. There's a driveway beside the property that can accommodate two off-street parking spots. So I believe the variances can be granted both from a hardship C1 and also from C2. The C2 criteria where the benefits outweigh the detriments, I think, goes to the straightening of the property to create rectangular lots. The C1 criteria hardship, I think, goes to the fact that the lot is encumbered by this pipeline easement, forcing construction to be pushed towards the front. It's not an overly large building that's being proposed. It's only 37 feet in depth, 33.5 feet in width. For those reasons, I believe that the board has the authority to grant the variances requested.
And in terms of the, I guess the use variance for the FAR, Does this size building comport to the neighborhood?
Yes, it's not out of place, and it's, as I mentioned, if it was a conforming lot, it would be, certainly no variance would be required for the FAR. And it's a modest-sized home of 2,500 square feet.
I have no further questions to this witness.
I'll go to the board, Mr. Wiley. Does the board have any questions of Mr. Fletcher? Mr. Spivak?
Madam Chair, just to verify, the realignment of the lot line does not trigger any other variances, any other violations?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Chair,
Yes.
I have a question.
Yes, Mr. Ayotte.
On the pipeline, this is a gas pipeline?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Paul? Okay. I think the board should require a condition on the pipeline, at least an approval letter from Colonial Pipeline that,
We do have one which we could submit to the record, correct? The Colonial?
and also PSC&G? Both companies? Okay.
Yes.
Letters of approval?
Yes. I have one from Sunoco Pipeline, PSC&G. Yeah, I have both of those.
Okay.
All
And they
right.
have no objection to the construction in the proximity to the pipeline?
No, they've indicated that to assure you don't construct an easement, we suggest you have a licensed surveyor, which we do. So they were just concerned about encroaching onto the easement.
Okay, fine. Also, in earlier testimony, if I may bring up about the bedrooms?
I'm sorry.
Can I bring up a question about the bedrooms? Sure. You're going to have 4 bedrooms upstairs, and I believe you said your parents would sleep downstairs?
For now, in the future.
In the future, they'll sleep downstairs, so,
Then the upstairs bedroom will become office.
Wait, he can't because we can't hear
I'm
him,
sorry.
so you have to use the microphone. And
Yeah, if you could come forward.
Yeah, Mr. Ayotte, say what you said again. I was intent
So-
on listening to you and
Yeah.
say that again.
will the den downstairs become a bedroom?
No, not.
In the microphone, please.
Sorry, no.
Okay.
So then I have a question. Where are they going to sleep downstairs then if there's no bedroom?
They're going to sleep upstairs for now.
Okay.
And if they should at some point require to go downstairs, they would convert one of the bedrooms into an office upstairs.
Okay.
So they would never have more than 4 bedrooms.
Never
They
more
don't
than
need
4.
more than 4 bedrooms.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
That's how
I
they
would
would take
yeah,
care of the problem.
okay, I was a little confused. Okay, thank you, Mr.
I have no
Ayotte.
further questions.
Okay.
I need clarification. Okay. Mr. Wiley, those letters that you have they been submitted to the board?
They have not. I can do that now.
If you could, please, we'd
Sure.
like them, so we have them in the file. And I just need a copy when you get them, Cassandra. Need one copy, yeah. This one? For the record, I'm going to mark Sunoco as A1 and PSC&G as A2.
Excuse me, there's, I guess, a third one, which is Colonial Pipeline.
Okay,
I'll submit that also.
that will be marked as A3. You can just give it to Cassandra. She'll mark it and have it for us. Thank you.
Mr. Kamba, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
But I didn't see that.
Hey, you're like a hawk.
Yep.
Mr. Fletcher, have you, your client, received the Township Zoning Report Board Review Letter?
We did not see that.
Okay. I'm I'm more than happy to share my copy.
I suspect it's similar to the other ones that have been presented.
Well, yeah, you know, Mr. Ayotte likes to make it personal.
Sorry?
I was just complimenting you, Jim. It's okay. Just smile and wave, boys. Smile and
He
wave.
doesn't draft it, so he's off the hook.
Madam Chair, can I also make a statement?
Pardon me?
I'd like to ask the
Sure.
applicant some. I just want the applicant to be made aware that nothing can go in the rear yard. You can't at no point in time put a patio, a shed, pool, nothing. Unless, again, we come back to the board.
Right. You can't increase the impervious surface from what we requested, so.
It's not the, oh, okay, that's
Yeah.
fine. I was
That's
thinking more
one
of the
issue.
Pipeline, John.
Yeah, the pipelines is a whole nother problem.
Yeah.
That you can't touch anything there and covers
Right.
2/3 of the rear yard. And then this reflects the new impervious coverage threshold for minor stormwater management. So I have to apologize, that is new to me, but we will live up to those conditions.
Ha ha.
Ah.
Told you we'd stump you.
And I was warned that it was coming. I didn't know it was coming this fast. Okay.
Quick. Anything else, Mr. Convo?
Well, you didn't answer my question. Are you willing to abide with it now?
Yes,
that you've
yes,
okay,
we
good.
are.
Thank you.
Does the board have any other questions of Mr. Go ahead, Mr. Sadata. Oh, okay. Somebody go first and somebody go second.
Yes,
Fine.
at no point in future, you're not converting den into a bedroom, right?
I believe the testimony was that if the den should be converted to a bedroom, then one of the bedrooms upstairs has to be converted to an office.
Oh, okay. And is there any basement
Yes, there is a basement.
finished?
No, it's not proposed to be finished.
Okay. Mr. O'Gorman?
Yes, and on the drawings you have in reference to the seepage pit dry well. And that's going to be located where? In the front?
In the front.
Is there any, I don't believe there's any catch basins in the area, right?
Not in front of our property, no.
Thank you.
So I have a question in regards to your Figure 1 site plan. You had shown an outline of the second floor overhang on top of the easement. Is PSC&G aware that the overhang will be there? Encroaching the easement? The dashed line is fine with them?
We submitted the plan too.
Okay.
Total.
Ben, we're going to, Ben, it's here, okay. We're going to take a few minutes because Ms. Shaw has to speak to Mr. Wiley. So take us offline, please. We're back on record.
I just need to correct the record.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, just to correct the record, A1, we're only going to have one exhibit, which is A1, which is consisting of 3 pieces of paper, all from PSC&G, Sunoco, and from Colonial.
Correct.
Okay. Okay, does anyone else on the board have any questions for Mr. Fletcher? None.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
So I have a question. It's not Mr. Fletcher. If we could just actually recall the homeowner.
Sure. Mr. Patel, can you want to come back up, please, sir?
So you did mention that the den will not be used as a bedroom currently, and then if any point that it does need to be used as a bedroom, you'll just then, flip-flop it with one of the bedrooms upstairs.
Correct.
Would you agree to a condition that there will be no more than 4 bedrooms in the home?
Yeah, there will be no more because,
No, I got you. I just want to make sure you agree to that.
Yeah, I mean, the whole purpose was if, my parents are going to get older, to accommodate them, it just makes sense to have that as a bedroom.
Absolutely.
And then the upstairs will be my office.
Absolutely. Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Right. Any other questions for Mr. Patel and Mr. Fletcher from the board?
I had just,
Yes, go ahead,
Mr.
Mr.
O'Gora,
Brown.
did your question get answered about the seepage pit?
It's, yeah.
It's more than what, 500 square feet?
Any,
I'm just, normally, aren't they like on the back of the house or on the side of the house? This one has to be in the front of the house?
Because of the gas line, we can't touch the back at all. That's why the whole reason was to put the seepage pit in the front, because that's where it makes sense.
And it's indicated here that the engineering department will ultimately have to sign off on the stormwater management plan.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Wiley.
any other questions from the board? None. Okay, go out to the public. Anyone within 200 feet of the property wanting to be heard? Anyone outside of 200 feet of the property wanting to be heard? There being none, I'll close the case and go to the board, please, for a motion.
Madam Chair, I will make a motion to approve. I believe that the applicant has met the negative and positive criteria worthy of approval. I believe that the project is particularly well suited. It is not, excuse me, not a detriment to the public good. The applicant will agree to abide by any conditions of A1 of the pipeline and utility easement letters. The applicant will abide by the Township Zoning Report Board Review Letter of July 5th, 2022. And the applicant will also agree to the condition that there will be no more than 4 bedrooms in the home at any one time.
Do I have a second?
I'll second. This motion will also incorporate all of the testimony of the applicant's attorneys, planners, engineers, and members of the board, as well as it will be incorporated of all the conditions that we discuss in this meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Second.
Okay, Cassandra, roll call, please.
Yes. Mr. Stubar?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. O'Gorman?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Barone?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Deve?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Siddhartha?
Yes on the motion.
Vice Chair Kamba?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairwoman Frederick?
Yes on the motion.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mr. Wiley. Good evening, Mr. Patel.
Okay,
Stay
thank
safe and
you.
healthy.
Okay.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Moving along. Let her get set up. Sir, sir,
Over there.
that away, yes. I was gonna say the man from Chester, but.
Angela, you ready?
Are you okay? Read the case, please.
Yes. Case number Z59, 2018, the Plaza at Lightbridge, 8 Moisey Place, Edison, New Jersey, 08820. Section 3722.1 and 3763.1 Preliminary and final site plan approval being sought along with use and bulk variances to demolish and reconstruct the pre-existing non-conforming three-family home. Multifamily homes are not a permitted use in this zone. Rear yard setback required is 40 feet and proposed is 21 feet. Gross floor area required is 1,500 square feet, proposed is 1,440 square feet. Max FAR permitted is 30%, proposed is 59%. Number of stories permitted is 2 and proposed is 3. Max height permitted is 30 feet, proposed is 34 feet 10 inches. Affected property is located in the LB zone designated as block number 430, lot numbers 15.01 on the Edison Township tax map. All paperwork is in order.
Good evening, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, good evening, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board, board professionals. Lawrence Sachs on behalf of the applicant, the Plaza at Lightbridge LLC. The property address is 8 Moisey Place. It's block 430, lot 1501, and it's in the LB zone. This is an interesting application because the house that is proposed to be demolished is a three-family house. It's taxed on your records as a three-family. It's in pretty bad shape. It's somewhat dilapidated. And what we're essentially proposing is to demolish that structure and build a new three-family house. And more importantly, we're going to do that with providing a parking area of 7 parking spaces, which will comply with the RSIS. Presently, there's a driveway on that property that maybe would accommodate 1 car. So I believe in the past, all the parking had occurred on Moisey Place and on the street, and maybe even in the shopping center that's adjacent to the property. So we are in front of you this evening for site plan approval. We also require some use variance approval. We require a D1 use variance because residential uses are not permitted in the LB zone, although this is a pre-existing non-conforming use, albeit a dilapidated structure now. We also need an FAR, a D4 variance, and we also need a D6 height variance. And we have a planner this evening who will testify to all of the requested relief and justify the relief that we're seeking. And finally, we have some bulk variances for minimum rear yard setback and for number of stories, which is related to the height. I do have 3 witnesses who will testify this evening. My first witness will be Noel Young, who is the project engineer. He'll describe the existing conditions and the site plan proposal. Secondly, we have Raymond Caselli, who is a licensed New Jersey architect, who will describe the layout and also has some elevations to show you. And then finally, we have our professional planner, John Leoncavallo, who is a licensed professional planner and will provide the planning testimony. So, Madam Chairwoman, if I can, I'll have Noel Young testify first, and I guess I'll have him put his site plan over there, and I'll hand him a microphone.
No, so it had, where it was, yeah. Because then this way we can see it, Mr. Bignell can see it, and the camera can pick it up.
Okay.
Mr. Young, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes, I do.
And please state your full name for the record.
Full Noel R. Young. Young is Y-O-U-N-G.
May we have your qualifications, please, sir?
Yes, I have a license in New Jersey. I have a PE license in the state of New Jersey. And I have a Bachelor of Science in Civil Engineering and Environmental Engineering.
Okay, and I assume you've appeared before boards in the state?
Yes, I did, yeah.
And your license is current?
For that?
Your license is current?
Yes, yes.
Okay, we'll accept your qualifications.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Young, if you can describe the existing conditions on the site, and I think you're going to be referring to the site plan package that had been provided. So if you could describe the existing conditions on the site.
Yeah. Right now, the existing, there is an existing building, a 3-family residential in this area. And also, basically, that's what the only thing they have, and they have a one-way, one-car driveway. And the back of it is all basically grass and lawn area. And existing grading, it's the terrain, general terrain is
the water going to the back of the building, the back of that lot and to the adjacent lot. That's basically it in the existing part of it.
Okay, Mr. Young, the property is located at fronts on Moisey Place.
Yes.
Which is a very small street that runs off of Inman Avenue. Is that correct?
That's correct, yes.
All right. And then at the end of Inman Avenue, at the end of Moisey Place, there's sort of a cul-de-sac which behind that is the railroad tracks. Is that correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay. All right. So what is being proposed with this particular site plan, if you can give the board the benefit of your testimony?
We are proposing to build a three-story, three-family building, and which is this one here, and a 7 parking slot on the front of the building. That's the main thing.
Okay, and so there'll be 6 parking spaces. There'll be
seven. Yeah.
I'm sorry, 6 regular spaces and 1 ADA compliant space. Okay, all right. And if you can describe how the stormwater management will be dealt with on this site.
Yeah, because of the increase in impervious, we are proposing to.
Is there a problem with that microphone? Why it's, I use the word hissing or, yeah, why don't you switch out?
Okay. What we are proposing is that because of the increase in impervious, we are proposing to install a dry well at the back of the building, wherein the entire stormwater runoff from the roof will be collected and be directed to the dry well. So that is, with this system, we will provide a 0 increase of impervious going to the adjacent lot. That will comply with the 0 increase requirement of the town.
Okay, and that dry well is at the rear of the property. Is that correct?
Yeah,
okay.
Here, in this area here.
All right. Mr. Young, if you can describe the proposed landscaping that's going to be on site. And I know, again, this is part of the submission that the board has in their packet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the existing condition, there are 6 trees to be removed. 2 of them is the around 24 inches diameter caliper, and 4 of them is within the 4 to 16 caliper, which indicated here. The requirement is that we have to put 26 trees, but we are providing 20. I'm sorry, the requirement is 24 trees, and we are providing 26 trees plus 15 shrubs.
Okay. And
that's for the landscaping.
Thank you. In terms of lighting, there was a comment in the report about making sure that we can comply with lighting levels, and certainly we can do that?
Yes.
Okay. And any lights that are not secure, any security lights will be motion detector lighting, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. There are available utilities. We have sewer and water availability for this site?
Yes, there is existing sanitary main and water main along Moisey Place.
Sorry.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
I apologize.
Wanted to make sure everybody's awake.
That came from your side, not ours.
Yeah, right.
Okay, all
This time it's our side.
I'm sorry. So the utilities, Mr. Young, you were about to say there is available water and sewer?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And obviously we'll hook into the available water and sewer that's on site.
Yeah.
Okay. And in terms of refuse, you're proposing a refuse enclosure, is that correct?
Yeah, there's a trash enclosure in the front of this building here. The bin, they are 96-gallon bins. They will be rolled out to the curb during the pickup days. But we have this calculation, waste management calculation, everything in the plan. It's in the cover sheet.
All right. And in terms of there was a comment in the report about making sure that the refuse closure matches the building. We should comply with that, correct? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. There's fencing provided on this site? If you could just indicate the fencing that's being proposed?
Yeah, yes, there is fencing. All right, there's, yeah. Wait.
The fencing's on the perimeter of the site?
Yeah, there is fencing along the perimeter except for this area here, I believe, because there's an adjacent building already. in this area, but all the rest have a fencing.
Okay.
Whatever is exposed, then there is fencing.
All right, and at the rear of the building, there's going to be some green space, which would be passive recreation area for
Right,
residents of the
yeah,
building?
yeah.
Okay. All right, and there's a bike rack proposed, is that correct?
Bike rack?
I can have the architect can testify to that.
Yeah,
That's fine.
We can provide if it's needed.
Okay. All right, so in summary then, Mr. Young, what we're proposing here is a three-family, multifamily dwelling to replace an existing one. There's going to be 7 parking spaces,
Yes.
one of which will be ADA compliant. With respect to the parking, based upon the RSIS, do we comply with the required
Yes,
parking?
yes.
So, okay, so we don't need a parking variance.
No.
Okay. Madam Chairwoman, I have no further questions. I know there's some technical comments on Mr. Carley's report and on Mr. Bignell's report. I can do that at the end after we put our testimony on. We can probably agree to most of it, but we'll answer some questions with respect to that.
Okay, there
Madam
is
Chair?
something that
Madam Chair?
yes,
Before you go forward,
Yeah.
the engineer's not here this evening, but I did speak with him. There's an issue with the seepage pit in the rear of the property. Says Charlie believes that the soils aren't really conducive to the seepage pit, and it's very close to the retaining wall they've also proposed. So I'm not an engineer, so I don't really want to speak to that, but maybe that is a condition they have to speak with Charlie and work that out.
Yeah.
Because he don't believe that it's going to work. He don't believe that it's needed either, by the way, but they need to discuss that as engineers.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Madam Chairwoman, we can agree to that. That's
So
fine.
I don't
Yeah.
need to.
And there's something that I just noticed, so everything is straight and correct. The agenda talks about the FAR being 59, and I'm looking at Mr. Bignell's report, and he's saying that the FAR is .576, so which is correct? So we know where we're starting.
I like Mr. Bignell's
It's an awful
number.
big FAR, let me say that to put it out there, but I'd like to know where we're starting from, 59 or
Well, you know what, Madam Chairwoman, I'll have my architect verify
Okay,
it because
fine.
I think he completed the certification. So
Okay,
to play
fine.
it safe, we'll get the accurate
Okay,
number. That's
great.
fine.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr.
it
Bignell?
was .576. It's down to 4.435.
I'm sorry, so what is it now?
The FAR has been lowered to .435.
I still didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
The FAR has been lowered to 0.435. It
Oh,
was
oh.
576.
Okay, so now it's 435.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
that's a lot better. Okay, fine. Anything else, Mr. Young?
No, the other improvement that is we are providing new curbs and new sidewalk
Okay.
along the right of way. Yeah.
Mr. Sachs, I don't know if it'll be your architect or it'll be Mr. Young, but one of Mr. Bignell's comments is that the street must be improved to municipal standards along the frontage of the property. So I'm assuming that we're taking care of that with the curbs and the sidewalk.
Yes, and actually, the applicant also owns the Children's Academy, which is across the street, and I believe there were improvements put in on Moisey Place on that side. But whatever needs to be addressed, we'll certainly address.
Fine. Anything else, Mr. Young? No, that's it? Okay, I'll go to the board. Does any of the board members have a question for Mr. Young? Nope. Moving along, Mr. Sachs.
Okay, we will call our architect, Mr. Caselli.
Mr. Caselli, would you raise your right hand, and do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And please state your full name for the record.
Raymond Louis Caselli, architect.
Some qualifications, please.
Yes, I'm a licensed architect in New York and New Jersey. I've been licensed since 1977 in New Jersey. I've appeared before this board and other boards in the state of New Jersey.
And your license is current?
Yes.
Okay, we'll accept your qualifications, Mr. Caselli.
All right, Mr. Caselli, if you can give the board the benefit of describing the layout of the interior of what this property will be comprised of.
Okay. The first floor is one apartment. It is an ADA compliant apartment. It enters right here in the front, and there's a living room, dining room combination, a den, a kitchen, and then there are two baths, both ADA compliant bathrooms and a master bedroom here on the left side. The center of the building has 2 staircases, one for each of the 2 upper apartments.
All right, and Mr. Caselli, just what exhibit are you referring to? Let's just get it on the record.
A1, drawing A1.
All right, and I think the board has a copy of that in
Yes,
their
they do.
packet. Okay, that's fine. Okay, thank you.
Now I'm referring to drawing A2, which has the 2nd and 3rd floor layouts. On the left side is the 2nd floor plan. Each apartment is identical. There on the 2nd floor there is it's the 1st floor of that apartment, but it's on the 2nd floor of the building. There's a living room, dining room combination, kitchen, a mechanical room, and a powder room, and then a general closet. And stairs come up from the front and arrive here. And both apartments are identical mirror image. On the 3rd floor plan, that's the sleeping quarters for the apartments. There are 2 bedrooms in each apartment, a master bedroom and a bedroom, and 2 baths, a master bath which is connected to that bedroom, and another bathroom which is connected to this bedroom. So each bedroom has their own bathroom. And again, that's a mirror image also.
All right, so in terms of the interior layout, we have a total of 5 bedrooms in this structure? Okay, thank you. All right, now I know you have some elevations as well, so why don't we, and we may have to mark those because I don't think you have those.
Mr. Sachs, can I ask a question? Sure. Can we make it a condition that that den on the bottom floor will never be used as a bedroom? There'll be no closets in there, so we
That's
don't
fine.
wind up with a 2nd bedroom? Okay.
Okay, my drawing number A3 shows the front elevation, which has main entry space for the 2 upstairs apartments and the entry for the 1st floor apartment. On the 1st floor, there is, and the exterior of the building has some stone material, some simulated limestone, and brick piers, and then large windows. The siding material is proposed to be a cement board, hardy board type of siding. And then there are 2 roof accents on top to accentuate the 2 end points of the building or the towers. On the left side elevation, we have all the same materials, and it's the side view with, again, the windows, the clerestory windows as well to give lots of light. And then the last drawing, my drawing number A4. Shows the right side elevation, which is identical to the left side elevation, and then the rear elevation, which has less windows and some of the same materials carried throughout.
Okay, so in terms of the floor area ratio, I know obviously our planner will testify to that, but do you have the square footage of the various apartments? And then you can relate that to the floor area.
I believe that floor area ratio was submitted, but I'm not disputing Mr. Bignell's number.
It's better than your numbers. Mr. Sachs, did you hear Mr. Bignell? He said he took it
Madam
off
Chair,
the
it
site
comes off
plan.
the site plan revised 9/24/21, so.
Okay.
Don't see it.
Then we will live with that number. I think
Yeah, I guess you will.
we had prepared a certification where I think the numbers came out a little bit higher, but that's fine.
Well, no, wait. If the house that you're proposing doesn't meet that number, you need to
Yeah.
correct that now because we'll have a problem down the road.
Let me pull
So-
up Mr. Caselli's certification, yeah. Mr. Caselli, let me give you this and maybe this.
Yeah, I don't have my copy in front of me.
Okay. Let's just make sure we have it on the record.
let's see. Yes, I have 1,474.31 square feet on the first floor, 1,493.6 square feet on the second floor, and I've crossed out habitable attic and created the third floor, which is 1,493.6 square feet. There is no garage. It's not applicable. Total floor area 4,461.51 square feet. Lot size 7,500, which has a floor area ratio of 5.9%.
All right, so I think we are going with the law. I would love to come in and tell you that we only have a 0.43, but I think when we redid the numbers, it came out a little bit high.
0.59?
I think
Okay.
it's, and to play it safe, let's go with 0.59.
Okay.
Because I agree with Mr. Bignell. We'd have a problem down the road if we have inaccurate numbers. So
Okay, Mr. Bignell?
That's fine with me, Madam Chair.
Okay.
okay, Ms. Caselli, I don't have anything further unless you do.
I'm ready for any questions, though. I'll stay
I'm
here.
sorry, I think I missed, what did you say the outside of the building was going to be?
It's a combination of brick piers, simulated stone veneer,
Okay.
simulated limestone for the first floor, and hardy siding, a cement board siding.
Mr. Bignell, are you satisfied with that, considering your comment on 10E?
Yeah, I didn't want to see like stuccos and things like that. The hardy board is fine.
Okay.
They make a real nice version of that now. There's also a vinyl that's really, really sturdy. It ain't the regular vinyl, it's a real sturdy vinyl. If they wanted to use that, I'd have no problem with that either. I just don't want the facility to look bad in a few years because it's just, it gets run down looking, and that's what we're trying to avoid.
Well, I believe we would commit to the cement board siding. 'Cause
That's fine.
It's a
That's fine.
product that this builder builds with all the time.
Okay, fine. Okay, I'll go to the board. Does the board have any questions for Mr. Caselli? Yes, Mr. Skibar?
Madam Chair, will there be any access to the roof?
No.
No? Okay, and there will be no mechanicals on the roof?
No mechanical. Well, I don't know if there'll be mechanicals on the roof, but there'll be no access for the tenants on the roof.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Bignell,
yeah,
if there's
how
going to
about-
be anything on the roof, it has to be screened.
The other thing too is the,
I'm getting to sound like you. Oh.
I know, it's scary.
Yes, it is.
The meters, where are the meters going to go on the building?
I believe that's on the site plan.
Yeah, I think the meters, Madam Chairwoman, members of the board, the meters I think are going to be on the side of the building, so they're basically obscured by the office building.
Can they be painted the same color as the siding so they don't they
Absolutely,
blend?
yes.
And I'm assuming that there's no hot box or water box in this house.
No.
That's good. Okay.
Okay, we still need the answer as to whether there's going to be any mechanicals on the top of the building.
He said no, right?
No, he said, Mr. Caselli said he wasn't sure, but there wouldn't be any access from the tenants, so.
The applicant just indicated that there will not
None.
be any mechanicals.
Okay, fine, okay. Mr. Skibar, you're okay? Yeah. Okay, Mr.
Thank you.
Combo?
Thank you, Madam Chair. So since you did agree to the condition that the den would not have a closet, would not be used as a bedroom, I'm noticing on the first floor apartment that there are 2 full baths. Would you consider leaving the bath all the way to the left side off the master bedroom, leaving that as a full bath? The second bathroom with the tub, would you consider making that into a powder room so it would be more of a half bath?
Yes.
Thank you. And then I didn't see anything as to what's currently there. I understand that anything is an improvement to what's currently there. How many bedrooms per unit are there currently?
1 bedroom on the first floor unit and 2 bedrooms for each of the other.
No. Are you under the current?
Oh, under the current house, I have no idea.
Existing.
I'm sorry.
No, it's no problem. It's no problem.
I'm advised that there's 6 bedrooms now, so we're actually reducing the count of the bedrooms.
Okay.
We have some photographs, by the way, of what the house looks like, so the planner will introduce that.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you so much. And then, Mr. Sachs, in terms of just going over garbage pickup and things like that, should we go through that with the planner or?
Well, actually, I can go through it now because I had a feeling that question was going to come up.
You're an attorney, you know garbage.
I know. Yeah, I know garbage.
You opened up to that one there, counsel. Oh, sorry, Bavini.
That's all right.
Present company excluded.
But we do have, we have the refuse enclosure, which will be gated. And I asked the applicant earlier, well, how are we going to get that out to the curb? And he goes, well, we're not going to have the residents do it. So he will, because he's got obviously the properties that are surrounding it, he will have his staff bring it out curbside for pickup.
Okay, and it'd be pickup from a private hauler, or is it?
No, I think it'll just be curbside pickup,
Edison?
for Edison, yeah. I mean, it's just residential garbage, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But we'll bring it, we'll make sure that gets to the curb.
That's how it's currently existing.
Right now, yes, yeah,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
All right, thank you very much.
Okay, any other questions for Mr. Yes, Mr. O'Gorman?
On the first floor is going to be ADA, you have the bathrooms, and what about the kitchen?
Well, the ADA is fully, the kitchen is ADA compliant. There's access to each of the fixtures that would meet the standards. And if we can lower the countertops if there's such a need for that, or we can provide a lower countertop
So
portion.
you'll make it adaptable.
Yes, we'll make it adaptable.
So the entire first floor will meet the barrier-free requirements?
Yes.
Okay, we'll make that part of the condition then if this gets approved. Thank you.
Any other questions of the board for Mr. Caselli?
Yes, Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Dubey.
The existing structure that you have, 1.5 story, what is the FAR? Do we know the current FAR?
Yeah, I don't know what the current is. I'm sure it's much lower because don't forget, we have just, it's a one floor structure, one level structure. We do have 6 bedrooms. I don't know if it's compliant with the FAR now. I think my planner will talk about the discrepancy as to why the FAR can be higher based on the fact that this is a pre-existing residential structure. But it's obviously, it's going to be lower. We know that.
So the existing structure, existing use is a non-conforming use, having three-family house in such a small lot, 100 by 75. Yeah. It's only 1.5 structure. You are making 3-story structure there. Your FAR is much less than 0.3 probably currently. You're trying to double it, 0.59. Is there any hardship? What's the purpose of doing this such a large development on such a small lot?
I'm going to have my planner testify to that, but I will make the point that right now, this particular property does not have any off-street parking. So there's a burden on the neighborhood, obviously, if we continue to let 3 families park their cars on a very, very small street. If you've been out to Moisey Place, you know that it's not a very long street. That poses some fire safety hazards, some public safety hazards. So I have a planner who will testify and will give you the justification for the relief.
I have no problem. The only thing is in non-conforming use and trying to make it more non-conforming, adding more non-conforming into the current use.
All right, well, again, we'll provide I have pretty extensive testimony from the planner. I also will note, and again, I'm not a planner, but I do know that, I believe the FAR requirement in the RB zone is 44%. The FAR requirement in the LB zone is 30%, and there's a reason why you have an FAR requirement of 30% in a business zone or an industrial zone, is you don't want to have massive structures, massive industrial structures or commercial structures taking up a lot. So Mr. Leoncavallo will certainly give you the justification for that relief.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions from Mr. Caselli?
Chair?
Yes, Mr. Ayotte.
This is a fully sprinklered building?
Yes.
Any other questions from the board? Moving on, Mr. Sachs.
Yes, I'd like to have Mr. John Leoncavallo, our professional planner.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Sir, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And state your full name for the record.
First name is John, last name is all one word, Leoncavallo, Leoncav as in Victor, Allo. My office address is 388 Washington Road, Suite E, Sayreville, New Jersey.
May we have some qualifications, sir, other than that?
Sure, I'm a licensed professional planner in the state of New Jersey, have been such For over 36 years, I've testified before approximately 300 zoning boards and planning boards, state of New Jersey, and as in New Jersey Superior Court as a community and land use planning expert.
Okay, thank you. And your license is current?
Yes, it is.
Okay, thank you. We'll accept your qualifications.
Thank you, Madam Chair. My first, I have an exhibit I'd like to distribute.
Mr. Sachs, is this part of the package or no? Okay,
No,
so this will be
A1.
A1.
Yes, thank you. We'll mark it in as A1.
And Ms. Shah, just so you know, A1 is comprised of several different documents, but Mr. Leoncavallo will testify to them.
Yeah, there's 5 pages, so A1 consists of 5 pages.
Okay. If everyone has a copy of the exhibits, the 5 pages, I'll just go over that quickly for you, give you some direction. The first page is a parcel and tax map. It shows highlighted for block 430, lots 15, 16, and 17. That's the property in question along the, it would be the eastern side of Moisey Place. Inman Avenue has the frontages for the other properties that the applicant has been working on in the past few years. And Lighthouse Academy is on the western side of Morsey Place, which is off. I believe it's 429 lot 5.03. If you look on the next page, it's an aerial from New Jersey Geographic Information Network. It shows Moisey Place again, the highlighted property in question, the strip center, which is to the north or to the east at the top of the page, the language or the learning center in the middle, kind of parallel to Kate Place, and then the office structure, which is located to the south of Moisey, or to the west of Moisey Place. And the next page is the land use map, designating again the shopping center. Everything in red is commercial along Inman Avenue. Kate Place towards the north of the property in question, and the left side of the page is residential, and the property across the railroad is a recreational property. The red again in the next page, on page 4, is the zoning map. LB local business is in the center to the north of the railroad. RB is recreational that we just mentioned. RA is residential, which is in the north of Inman Avenue. The final page shows the existing structure that is going to be demolished, and it's from 2018, and I'm told by the owner it has the original was a single family, I believe, and then converted to a 3-family, which had an apartment in the basement, an apartment on the first level, and an apartment in the attic area. So there were 3 apartments, and that's what he's going for now, is just the conversion to new technology and to update and modernize the structure. I do have a couple of pages. There was a mix-up in my office, and they did not make copies for each of you. I have aerials for a drone application, or a drone that shows above about 50 or 60 feet what the property looks like. I can give you those, and
I have copies. They're not colorized, but I can give you copies of
I can
that,
give
so.
you the one colorized one to your clerk, and then Larry is going to provide some additional ones.
Yeah, so this would be A2. And it's really just the first 2 pages of the handout I'm going to give you, because the other pages that are attached, Mr. Leoncavallo's already provided for you. But if you look at the first 2 pages, you'll see the aerial.
And as long as we're talking about lot numbers, I notice Mr. Bignell's report questions who owns lot 18 and 19.
Right. We used to own it. We no longer own it.
Okay.
And I believe there had been an application, maybe to this board or to the planning board, for an approval on that lot as well. So.
Okay. For what?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Don't seem to remember it, but that's okay. And right now it's vacant?
Right now it's vacant.
I guess we denied it. Who knows?
Thank you.
I don't think so. I think it was approved, but I'm not sure what it was
Didn't
approved
go
for.
through?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's hearsay, though.
Okay.
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 So, Mr. Leoncavallo, while they're passing everything out, I know you've had an opportunity to review the site, to review the ordinances, master plan, or zoning ordinance, if you can give the board the benefit of your analysis to justify the relief we're seeking this evening.
Sure, just a quick summary of the property in question. It's 3 tax lots, as we've talked about, 15, 16, and 17 in block 430, 7,500 square feet. It's 75 by 100 feet. And it was originally developed as a single-family home and then converted to, as I said before, a 3-family on basement level, primary level, and attic with 3 units. Moisera Place is a short cul-de-sac. There are a number of structures along that, and at the end of the street is a rail line, and there are some commercial uses, including Lightbridge Academy, which is the newest structure built in the last year, I believe, or in the last year and a half. The plan is to demolish the old dilapidated structure that you have a color picture of, and to construct 3 new family dwellings with 6 parking spaces and 1 additional handicap parking space, which meets the RSIS standards. Zoning consideration is LB is a local business district. It includes stores, shops, eateries, service uses, religious uses, offices, fraternal clubs. The location, however, is difficult for most of the permitted uses because it has limited visibility, and as you know, commercial property needs unlimited visibility if it can achieve that or close to it from Inman. So there's a setback that makes it not an asset but a deficiency in those properties, or in the property in question. The relief sought is a D1 use variance that was described before to replace the existing residential dwelling with a new 3-family dwelling, which, to make the comment, was non-conforming in its existing state and is still non-conforming right now, and rectifying that with a D1 use variance. A D4 floor area ratio, I believe we're still going to proceed with the 5.76 versus the 0.59.
Yep.
0.59, I'm sorry, 5.9.
And while we're on that, you'll note that Mr. Bignell's report asked about reducing the FAR a little bit. So take that into consideration, please.
Yes, we will do that. But I know in talking with the applicant himself, there were 6 other structures that he demolished on this on the other side of Moisey Place. This is the only one that still exists, and he wants to improve that, to improve those rental units to be able to be upgraded to 21st century and create usable and rentable components that he can utilize in the property in question. The building height is 34 feet versus 30 feet, which is required. This is not really substantial because for a D variance, we can do 10%, and that would only put 1 foot into the D6 variance. Commercial C relief is needed for the number of stories. We're proposing 3 stories versus 2.5. And this interrelates with the height and provides more roomier living space for the 3 apartments. C relief for the rear yard is 21 feet versus 40 feet. Again, we're mitigating by isolating a location at the end of the street and the inset that you get from Inman Avenue. The relief for the light spillage, as our engineer mentioned, is possible to proceed with decreasing that, and we are agreeable to that decrease. And then the relief for the pipeline buffering is going to be less than 75 feet and has been deferred to the engineer for safety measures and justification. And I believe that the pipeline buffering for the Lightbridge Academy was less than 60 feet or 65 feet. So we're a little bit longer than that, probably. The justifications for the D1 variance are the applicant satisfies the 4 elements under the Medici test case for use relief, site suitability. In particular, it's suited by virtue of its context as well as its condition-wise. It has accommodated residential uses for a number of years, and 3-family seems to fit very well and is appropriate. Contextually, the site is somewhat isolated at the end of the cul-de-sac, and the setbacks from the other uses are needed. But that creates quite a good site suitability criteria for this particular proposal. Special reasons include the project delivers new housing stock, a fundamental planning goal of your master plan. The 3-family housing provides economy of scale to help offset housing costs and advance the planning goal to provide a variety of housing options in consideration of the needs of all the people in Edison Township. The replacement of the decrepit and dilapidated dwelling with the new attractive dwelling promotes a positive aesthetic for the area. The project provides a consumer population that can support local business within walking distance of the property along Moisey Place. The project promotes efficient land use with redevelopment of a former residential property, and all the promoted purposes of the land use law, municipal land use law, especially AGI and M, are related here in this application. A is provide general welfare. G is to provide sufficient space in appropriate locations for a variety of residential uses, open space, and public-private entities. I is promote a desirable visual environment through creative development techniques. And M is to encourage coordination of private and public procedures with the lessening of costs and to go to the more efficient use of land within the township. The testimony on the record by experts sworn under oath is that the site will flow, function, and operate safely, efficiently, and comfortably. All experts testify that residential, in this case, works extremely well. The site is so small and so offset from Inman and from the neighboring uses that it's so small it will not alter the character of the area at all substantially. The zone impacts include relief can be granted without substantial impairment of the zone plan. Relief relates to a distinctive lot, not a whole zone, therefore not tantamount to rezoning. The integrity of the zone will remain intact with notwithstanding the modification of an isolated residential lot and has been long-standing part of the area and the LB zone. The grant of the use relief at the location will not set a precedent for the relief set in this application. It is a distinct site whereas the relief for multifamily residential makes good sense to fix the site that needs the assistance of the board in this case. The use is meant to be site-specific, and this is certainly a site-specific property. There is a practical difficulty with permitted uses in this location, given the offset and the lack of visibility from Inman Avenue, in my opinion. Justification for the D4 floor area ratio, which is 5.96.
0.59. 0.59.
Okay. Versus the 30%. This application satisfies the statutory criteria under the floor area ratio per the state case law. The positive criteria, all the benefits that I cited above carry forth. The floor area ratio is needed to effectuate the use and provide comfortable living spaces and an organization within the three-family structure. The negative criteria is met. The site can accommodate any problems associated with the additional floor area ratio. The building site is not oversized in the context of what is there already, and it will not appear overly large or out of place at this location at the end of the cul-de-sac away from Inman Avenue. Grant of the floor area ratio at this location will not set a precedent for residential floor area ratio of 5.9 throughout the town. This is a distinct site where the added floor area ratio makes sense to fix a site that needs the help to accommodate it in a reasonable manner and appropriate to the site. Justifications for the D6 height relief of 34 feet versus 30 feet. The application satisfies the site criteria for height relief under the Grasso case. The positive criteria is all the use and floor area ratio benefits are carried from above to and carried forth. The added height is necessary to effectuate the use and provide comfortable living space. Again, negative criteria in accordance with the Grasso case, which controls height control. There are no violations. The added height will not block scenic views or create negative shadow effects. The added height will not create excessive density or over-intensive use of the site. And the added height is mitigated by the setback from Inman Avenue, where we're only 1 foot into a D height variance rather than 3 feet. The justifications for the C relief. The relief is under the flexible C balancing test. The benefits of the application of the whole substantially outweigh the detriments. That's in accordance with New Jersey case law, which is pulling. The project benefits, all the D benefits cited above carry down to this point. All the C relief is necessary to effectuate this beneficial project that will be improvement to the area and finish and cap off this project, which is included the necessary structures around it. I believe the last time I testified here was maybe four years ago when this was going on with some of the initial work that started. The potential detriments are that are taken care of here. The rear yard of 21 feet causes no impact due to the lack of neighbors and the adequate backyard. The number of stories, 3 versus 2.5, is again interrelated very closely to the height relief required. Light spillage can be appropriate, and we are willing to reduce that per the engineer's opinion and comments. And the pipeline buffering of less than 75 feet is purely based on the expertise and testimony of the engineer. In conclusion, the project will continue the positive transformation and upgrade of the Moissy Place with the same application that renovated the adjacent building, which is on the corner. Statutory criteria for the grant of the use variance is met, and approval is respectfully warranted before this board tonight.
Mr. Leoncavallo, just a couple follow-up questions. So we're seeking relief for a D1 use variance, and I believe you've given some very justifiable testimony for the grant of that. We have a pre-existing non-conforming residential structure. We're not changing that. The zone is the LB zone, which permits a variety of uses, none of which are residential, some of which are very high intensity. But in your professional opinion, at least as to the D1 use variance, based on the fact that this is really an isolated lot, is that correct?
Yes.
I mean, it's not, there's no residential lots around it. Everything surrounding it is commercial or office. In your professional opinion, is there any detriment to the surrounding area, to the public good with the granting of the D1 use variance?
No, there is not.
All right. And with respect to the D4 floor area ratio variance, and members of the board, I would suggest that if I was in front of you tonight, and this was an application just for an FAR in a residential zone, and I was looking to expand, I don't think I could justify in a residential zone doubling the FAR. But this is a unique situation, and Mr. Leoncavallo, I want you to elaborate a little bit more. The present structure that's on this property is not compliant with the residential site improvement standards. Is that correct?
That is correct.
At best, there's one parking space for 6 bedrooms.
Correct.
All right. This particular proposal now is going to be fully compliant with the residential site improvement standards by providing the 7 parking spaces. So there will be no impact whatsoever on Moisey Place or on the public street surrounding this.
That is correct. And it will be a new structure, as you can see from the elevations, a vast improvement from what it has been in the past.
Okay. And obviously the reason that the FAR is being increased is because and we are reducing the number of bedrooms from 6 to 5 is because we're obviously going up, it's 3 floors.
Yes.
Okay. But providing the parking. So in terms of balancing, which really don't have to do on a D4, there's no Seeker balancing we have to worry about. We have to see if the site can accommodate the use under Coventry Square and Randolph Town Center. Can this site accommodate the increase in the FAR?
Yes, because the last site, if you look at it, did not accommodate handicap. If there was one apartment in the basement, the access was stairs, and if there's one apartment in the attic, the access was probably stairs. So it was did not meet any accommodations for the handicap.
All right, and finally, going to the D6 height relief. So if this property were in a residential zone, we could build a structure going up to 35 feet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, and this structure is going to be 34 feet 10 inches. I believe your testimony is the 30-foot height requirement is in the LB zone. If we only went up 3 feet, we'd be seeking bulk variance relief, but not a height variance.
Correct.
Okay, and I guess the same analysis that you've indicated and you testified as to Grasso is whether or not the site, again, can accommodate the increase in height. But in your professional planning testimony, is there any detriment to the public good or to the public welfare with the granting of this height?
It meets all the negative criteria.
Okay. All right. Madam Chairwoman, I don't have any further questions of Mr. Leoncavallo.
Okay, before I go to the board, I'm going to touch on one more comment from Mr. Bignell about the facade sign. He said it should be removed from the front.
We can remove it. We just felt it would be something attractive for the residents, but I'll leave that up to the pleasure of the board or to Mr. Bignell. If he wants, if Hank wants us to take it down, we could take it down.
Mr. Bignell?
Madam Chair, I don't think there's a need for the sign.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Okay, so remove the sign. Okay, with that, I'll go to the board. Does the board have any? Yes, Mr. Skibar, I didn't even finish. Go ahead. Yes, Mr. Skibar.
Just a little concern about being in the vicinity of the railroad tracks. I don't know if you observe this. Do you know, I guess, the density or the frequency of trains on that line?
I know it's a freight line. I think it's fairly infrequent. I mean, obviously, there is another lot between us and the train tracks, and plus you've got the Lightbridge Academy, that is back there. I mean, at some point, again, I don't know what. Actually, I can surmise. I think all of these properties were residential properties at some point, and they've been converted over the years because of the change in the zone and the proximity to Inman Avenue. But we are going to have a fence up, which certainly will shield us from any dangers.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr.
not to interrupt Mr. Skiba, but I don't think we ever answered lot 18. Who owns it? And if you sold it, you should know who owns it.
I didn't own it, I had it under contract.
Oh, so is it a separate owner? Are they gonna show up then looking?
It was a separate owner and they sold it.
Wait, he has to be sworn in or go through Mr. Sachs or something.
I may have misspoke then. I thought Mr. Mucci had owned it, but one of you, let's swear him in.
Mr. Mochi, would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
And please state your full name for the record.
Ralph Mocci, M-O-C-C-I.
So the question was, Ralph, I thought you had owned that property, but you did not own that property. Is that correct?
We had it under contract. We came in for an application a few years back. The board wasn't satisfied with the application. We pulled the application and we canceled our contract and we just stayed with the property we own. So somebody else bought it. I don't know who bought it. I heard there was an approval on it, maybe by the planning board since it's in a conforming use, but I have no idea who bought it and what it's being used for. All I know is we own the Lightbridge Academy, we own the Magnar Bank, and we're trying to clean up the site. And this is the only piece that's left of all the houses that we tore down that were dilapidated in this neighborhood. So this is the last piece. And probably most of the teachers in Lightbridge Academy will be renting this. So that's why we're trying to clean the site up.
Yeah, I just want to point out to the board, it is a vacant piece of property, so you may be seeing another 2 to 3 family unit on this piece as well. So just keep that in mind.
Okay.
Yeah, and Hank, I think if it had gone to the planning board, it probably.
Well, I don't remember going to the planning board,
You
so
don't remember? Okay.
Yeah,
I don't remember
it
going
either,
there or
but I
coming to
remember-
TRC. Maybe I'm losing my mind as I get older, but it doesn't ring a bell, so.
Me either, okay. Okay, so any other questions from the board? From Mr. Conway, you have any?
Yes, thank
Go
you,
ahead.
Madam Chair.
Take your time.
Thank you. So in Mr. Bignell's report, item K, he requests a fiscal impact study for the project.
Yeah, I was going to go through the report, Mr. Combo, but yeah, we can provide a traffic report. I mean.
No, well, so we're on fiscal impact. You're
I'm sorry. Oh,
jumping
fiscal
ahead.
impact. Yeah, community
Yes.
impact statement. Yeah, I mean, we can provide something. I mean, obviously, we're only going to be providing a total of 5 bedrooms, so I really don't think there'll be much impact on the school system. But we'll provide that. And actually,
Excuse me, Mr. Sachs, but if you want us to vote on it tonight, how can you then provide it? We need it before we vote on it.
Madam Chairwoman, I don't dispute that. I mean, I just recently received Mr. Pignell's report, I think yesterday. Same with Mr. Carley's report, which I think I got last night. I mean, I will state for the record, you can make, I'll tell you what we could do, Madam Chairwoman, if the board is inclined, we will provide a summary of a fiscal impact, and you can make that a condition of approval if Mr. Bignell has an issue with it.
Madam Chair, just for the record, my technical review
I was gonna
report
say, was
was
technical
dated
review.
December 10, 2018, and I asked for it in that report as well. So don't act like you didn't know about it. It's been,
And I
it's
don't understand.
2022, so that's 4 years now. So.
I don't understand how we can vote on something that we don't know what the information is.
When would you submit it? You can't, it has to be tonight.
It has to be, that's what
Oh,
I'm saying.
I can't pull one out of my pocket, so I
Well-
can't, right, we understand that. But I will tell you, at least, I know the community impact will be negligible with 3 apartments
No
and 5
offense, but we
bedrooms.
have to see something
I
writing.
understand.
And I assume your next one will be the traffic report. Okay.
You know me so well.
So
Madam
well.
Chair.
So. how
Madam
many-
Chair.
Yes,
Madam
Mr.
Chair,
Bignell.
The ordinance requires those 2 reports for a
Right.
use variance.
Well, what I was going
If
to
the
say-
applicant wants to ask the board for a waiver, I mean, we weren't doing that in TRC, but that's something new that we are going to be doing. But the board has the opportunity to grant the waiver tonight if they so choose.
Well, let me do this. I will find out if there's any more questions for Mr. Leon Caccavallo, and if not, then we'll decide between the board whether we will waive it or not. Okay, so at this point, any more questions? Yes, Mr. O'Gorman.
And Mr., the reference to the charging stations, you didn't mention.
Yeah, I think I had this discussion with Mr. Bignell. I think we're exempt as a residential, small residential use. I mean, if we were building a large apartment complex, I would understand it, but I think with 3 families, we're exempt from that requirement.
And then the lighting?
Yeah, the lighting, we're going to comply with lighting. We obviously have to reduce some of the foot candle levels.
Any other questions? Mr. Ayat, you have that look.
I don't believe you're exempt from it. I think every new every family, multifamily and single-family structure has to be offered the EV charging station. I don't believe you're exempt from it.
Well, if I was building a single-family house, I wouldn't have to put an EV
Yeah, I
charging
think under
station.
the new state statute, you might be referring to the ordinance in town, which is superseded by the
not
state
in town,
statute.
Hank. UCC.
Well, I don't, that's not zoning. UCC is not zoning.
Okay.
So that's
Okay.
if that's a building code requirement, then that's something I'll have to do with the building department, but I don't believe
Okay,
it's a zoning
that's fine.
requirement. I think they're exempt. We can check. We might be mistaken, but we can certainly check.
Okay. Any other questions from the board?
Madam Chair?
Yes,
Just
Mr.
before we
Compa.
go back to item K
Yeah,
now.
right.
One thing, so just from listening to the planner's testimony, it's clear that this is not a residential neighborhood. And being that you have operations on the adjacent lot, I would ask if you would agree to a condition of approval that refuse pickup would be through a private hauler. You could use individual cans, but it would be a private pickup.
Yeah, I think my response on the refuse is we are providing that enclosure. There's curbside there now. Obviously it's picked up by Edison. What we had offered, Mr. Comba, was to rather than have the residents bring it to curbside, we would have, someone from our organization. I don't know, something I said. Someone from our organization take it to the curbside, but. I think it might be a little onerous to require private hauler to just pick up garbage from 3 private residences. I don't know. That's just my opinion, but.
I have a question. Mr. Sachs, I have one question.
Wait.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Comba's still got the floor. Go ahead, Mr. Comba.
So you have private haulers come down that street anyway.
Right.
So as to service the other properties on the block. So I just don't understand why. So I'm not asking you to put a dumpster in. I'm not asking you to put a whole full trash enclosure in. You could have each unit could have its own garbage can with pickup, and that pickup would then be picked up by a private hauler.
Ms. Cumber, I understand what you're saying. Generally, if it was a private hauler and we had a lot of garbage that come in with the front end,
absolutely,
they pick up. We don't want them coming into this parking lot because it's not.
Absolutely, but you can put it. I have a private hauler where I live.
Okay.
And it's I bring my garbage can out to the curb, and they come and they pick it up.
Mr. Comba, if that's something that the board is inclined to request of us, we will cooperate.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Any other questions? Yes, Mr. Barone.
Kind of, Mr. Sachs, kind of an extension of Mr. Comba about hauling. You've made reference several times to curbside pickup, but clearly this would be a residential oasis within a completely surrounding commercial area. So where is the curbside pickup when every one of these businesses probably have private hauling?
Yeah, well, Mr. Barone, right now, and I don't think there's any tenants in the building. I think it's in such bad shape that we couldn't have anybody live there. But in the past, the curbside pickup, the residents would bring it out to the curb, and it would be hauled away by Edison. But I understand Mr. Comba's point. I understand your point. We can make accommodations to have a private hauler.
Thank you.
We just don't want them in the parking lot, but we'll bring it to the.
Absolutely.
We'll figure it out. It's fine.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Bignell.
Back to the electric vehicle charging stations, I checked with my office. 1 and 2 families are definitely exempt. We're not sure about 3, so if you want to go ahead tonight, we can just make a condition that if they are required, we have to provide at least 1 charging space.
Okay.
All right, but I'll check. If they're exempt, they're exempt, but I'm not sure about the 3. I know the 1 and 2 are. Okay?
All right.
Any other questions? Yes, Mr. O'Gorman.
Looking at the existing dwelling, there's a mailbox at the street. Where are the mailboxes going to be?
They're going to be up by the building. We're going to have a collector.
Give him the microphone, please.
I'm sorry.
That's
We're
okay.
going to have a collector of mailboxes, and by the side of the building opposite where the dumpster is, it'll be one for each unit, 3 boxes.
It'll be an individual box for you,
Individual boxes, yes. There'll be locked boxes for the postman to have his own key.
based on the postmaster approving it.
Yes, we provide the locks with they use their own keys. So we accommodate the postal department.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we will then go back to the waiver question on the fiscal impact and the traffic impact. Your thoughts?
Madam Chair?
Yes.
If I could help?
Yes, go ahead.
The traffic impact is probably created by the applicant's own daycare center, so I'm not sure that's a real major impact with the children and stuff. So that shouldn't be too hard to grant the waiver to. The fiscal impact, I mean, some testimony maybe on the number of children that might be generated and the impact of the schools. That's basically what the ordinance is looking for. Yeah. So we're talking about 2 units with 2 bedrooms, so we're not talking a lot of people living there. So.
Okay.
Yeah, Madam Chairwoman, if you want, I can ask Mr. Leoncavallo. He can probably address it to some degree. And
Okay.
hopefully satisfy you. So, Mr. Leoncavallo.
Excuse me, Mr. Sachs, 1 second. If the board is so inclined to approve this application and they waive the fiscal impact statement, I will need some findings from the board as to why we're waiving it, for the record.
Okay. So, Mr. Leoncavallo, I know you're previously sworn in under oath. So under the previous property, or the property that's here now, we have 6 bedrooms. We're going down to 5 bedrooms. You've heard the testimony from Mr. Caselli that the first floor unit has 1 bedroom.
Correct.
And that the 2 units above, which really are, the second floor is kitchen and living area, and then the 3rd floor is bedrooms, will each have 2 bedrooms. So in your professional opinion, the first floor unit in particular, would that be attractive to any renters who have families?
A 1 bedroom would not, and I think the 2 bedroom may, but in any case, prior to this, you had 6 bedrooms, and now you're going to have no more than 5. So this will not exacerbate the situation in terms of school student population.
Okay, so certainly the 1 bedroom apartment on the first floor most likely would not be rented out to any school age, any families with school age children. And the other 2 units that have 2 bedrooms, one of them is a master bedroom where presumably if there is a family, the parents are going to be, or the parents would probably be living in the master bedroom, and maybe a child would be living in the other bedroom. But is that conducive to a situation where you would have multiple children living in an apartment?
In my opinion, no, it would not. And I think one of the members of the board also asked on the first floor that the second bathroom be reduced to a powder room instead of having a full bathroom. So that still does more so of making sure that you're not going to have any more students in the population for the schools.
Okay. And I would make another offer to the board to make sure that we don't have additional school children. The second floor, as we know, has a living room, a kitchen, a dining room. We would agree that none of those rooms would be utilized as a bedroom, so that the only bedroom space would be on that 3rd floor where the 2 bedrooms are located. So we would certainly agree to a condition. So in terms of community impact, I think the community impact is negligible with respect to this. In fact, I would suggest that, and again, I'm not a planner, Mr. Leoncavallo is the planner, but the tax revenue that's generated would probably far exceed any of the expenditures that the township would have through its Board of Education to educate any children. I would suggest if we had a 3-bedroom or even larger units, you certainly would have you would have the opposite situation. But with a 1 bedroom and with 2 bedrooms, I think we can confidently state that there'll be negligible impact upon the community.
Okay, I will go to the board. My gut reaction is I think the traffic impact, as Mr. Bignell suggested, could be waived. What is everyone's feeling as to the fiscal impact, as to what Mr. Sachs has advised us, and as to what Mr. Leoncavallo has advised us? Any thoughts?
Madam Chair.
Yeah, Mr. Comba?
So council keeps referring to the report as a community impact report, but it's not a community impact report, it's a fiscal impact report. And a fiscal impact report details how much property taxes will be generated to the municipality. Of those property taxes, X amount goes to the municipality, Y amount goes to the school board, Z amount goes to the county. So what we need to see is approximation of how much money will be generated from that. Municipal services, an approximation of student education services, and then what's left from there. So we haven't seen that report, and I can't take. I understand where the planner's testimony, but I can't take testimony from an attorney without some dollars and cents. And I'm willing to agree to the waiver to the traffic impact study because I believe the traffic impact will be negligible, but we don't know if this property is currently inhabited. We don't know if there are students currently in the school system as a result of it. We don't know these things, so we don't know where things are going to end up. So, in sitting here, I can't put a financial burden on the municipality. I understand it's not within within our actual jurisdiction, but in my good conscience, I just can't do that.
Okay, I will speak. I happen to agree with Mr. Comba. My reaction is that I think we ought to hold this over, give it another date. I'll announce whatever date Cassandra thinks is available. Bring in the impact and fiscal impact, and then we will do a vote.
Okay, that's fine, Madam Chairman. I understand the board sentiment. What I'd like to do maybe before we just break is let me just go over, with your permission, go over Mr. Bignell's report if there's any other open issues.
Yeah. And also by that time, you'll probably have a chance to speak with Mr. Carley. And we can decide on the seepage problem that he seems to think there is also. So
That's
that
fine.
might be beneficial in more ways than one.
Right, and I can also go through Mr. Carley's report because I think we can comply with everything. In fact, let me do Mr. Carley's report first. So just so the record is clear, I guess the recommendations start with paragraph 2.2. We will comply with 2.2, 2.3, 2.4. Going to parking, 3.1, I think we've given that testimony as to what the 7 parking spaces are for. That's for the tenants at the property. Proposed parking in the front yard area. I understand Mr. Carley's comment, but I don't think we can. We would, if we put the parking in the rear yard, we would lose the recreation area and the green space in the rear, and I think that would be a problem. I know I spoke to Mr. Bignell about this, and I think there's a comment in his report about that as well. The electric vehicle charging stations. Again, if Mr. Bignell tells me I have to put one in, we'll put one in. 3.4 we'll comply with, which is cameras. 3.5 is acceptable. 4.1 is just a comment. 4.2 we will comply with. 4.3 we will comply with. 4.4 we'll comply with. 4.5 we'll comply with. Stormwater management, 5.1 is just a comment. 5.2 we'll comply with. 5.3 we'll comply with. I think 5.4 is the comment that Mr. Carley had. Mr. Bignell reiterated this evening about the dry well, so
Yes, so you have a chance to speak to
we'll
him
talk to him
about
about that. Yep. 6.1 on sanitary waste disposal is just a comment. 6.2 we'll comply with. 6.3 we'll comply with. 6.4 we'll comply with. I think we are going back to 6.4. We don't require a hot box. If we do, though, we'll landscape it. 6.5, my understanding is that there'll be separate lines for fire suppression and water. 6.6, we'll comply with. If we have a ground-mounted transformer pad from the utility, we'll comply with that. There's no generator proposed here on 6.7. 6.8 we'll comply with. 6.9, 6.10, 6.11 we'll comply with. 7, solid waste. Well, solid waste I think we've addressed. If the board is inclined for us to have a private hauler, we'll do that. 7.2 we'll agree with. Environmental, 8.1 is a comment. 8.2 is a comment. 8.3 we'll comply with. 9, miscellaneous, we will comply with all of those comments from Mr. Carley. And if I just briefly go to Mr. Bignell's report, I think going to page 2, he's got a question about a violation for light spillage. We've agreed that we will address that on the plans. The pipeline buffering.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Bignell?
the ordinance requires that you provide the letters from the pipeline company saying that you're not going to dig within 75 feet of a transmission line, and that's 75 pounds per square inch.
Correct.
Not a service line to a house. Now, I know Mr. Mucci just got done building the daycare, and I'm sure he's aware where the high pressure lines are in that neighborhood. So if they believe that they're not near this property within 75 feet, they should ask the board for a waiver. And that should be a condition of approval, so we're not chasing this around when we're looking for a final.
Mr. Bignell, we can ask for a waiver on that. We believe that.
Well, the engineer has to testify first that there is no high-pressure gas line in the vicinity. If he doesn't do that, then you're going to have to provide the letters. If we're going to carry this till next time,
Yeah, we can do it next
we
time
can
around.
do it next time. and
Yeah,
he
we can do it next
check
time around. He could
and be
review
assured
it. Yep.
personally that there isn't any, because the responsibility will be on him at that point. Okay?
We'll do that next time. Yep, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so we are on Mr.
We're at
Bignell's 10.
number 10. All right. I think we clarified that we don't own lots 18 and 19. Let's see. C, yes, we've already agreed that we'll improve whatever is required in the front of the property. D, we would prefer not to reduce the size of the building. I think Mr. Leon Cavallo has really given testimony to justify the FAR. I'm really not sure how much.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Bignell?
if I could interject here. Before we send the applicant on a scavenger hunt doing all this other work, if the board is inclined not to grant that, they maybe can make comment to how they feel about it so that the applicant gets a feeling about it before we go any further, because making them keep coming back and spending the money, that's not fair either, so.
Right.
Madam Chair, can I say something?
Yeah, let Mr. Sachs finish going through Mr. Bignell, and then I will come back to you, Mr.
Thank you.
McKay. Go ahead, Mr.
Okay.
Sachs.
E, I think we
I
addressed.
feel like a referee.
E, we addressed with the architect. It's going to be hardy plank and.
Chair?
Yes.
He was going through the report on, Mr. Carley's report on 7.2, and I don't know where you're at now.
He's
Oh, I'm
Mr.
sorry, on Mr.
Bignell.
Bignell's report.
What happened to 7.2 and 7?
Oh, he went through all of them. Yeah.
No, he didn't do 8.
Yeah.
8.1, 8.2.
He did.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah, he did very quickly, but yeah, he did. Yeah.
Yeah, 7.1, we've, 7.1 I addressed. If you need a private carter, we'll do that. And
What about 8?
I think I did 8.
Yeah.
We agreed to all those as well.
Yeah, and he said all 9.
And
yeah.
9.
And now he's on Mr. Bignell, and we're finished with D until the board discusses it, and we're going to E.
All right, so E, yes, we are going to have, obviously, we're not going to use stucco or ephes, and we'll work with Mr. Bignell on the materials, but I think we have an agreement on that. The facade sign we'll remove. The tree coverage, I think we're removing 6 trees in the rear, but that's on the plan, so I don't think there should be any discrepancy on that. Let's see, H.
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Bignell?
just so we get it right,
Yes, sir?
the ordinance requires that a percentage of trees 4 inch to 60 inches be calculated, the total number, and then the number being replaced, and then there's a percentage that they have to comply with. That calculation has not been provided. So that's all I'm looking for, because I have the 2 larger trees, and then there's just a number of replacements per tree, but not knowing the total number of trees and then the numbers being removed, I can't get that percentage. He indicates 4, which might be 100% correct, but I just want to see the calculation.
Okay, so we need that on the next round also, number
Okay.
of trees.
Yeah, we'll provide that.
Yep.
Thank you.
All right.
So we are on
H.
H.
Okay, yeah, the utility, I think we've addressed the utility meters. They'll be outside. We'll paint them to match the building, so that's not a problem. And if we have any transformers or hot boxes, we'll screen them. Let's see, calculations for trees less than 16 inches. to
We
be
just spoke
removed.
about that.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Pipeline buffering, we've addressed, and I think you,
Well, you'll seek a waiver if the engineer testifies that there aren't any high-pressure mains.
all right, and K, we're going to come back and provide the fiscal impact.
Correct.
I just call it a community impact because
It's fiscal
one of the
impact.
towns I represent, it's the same document, but they call it a community impact statement, so that's all. And I would request a waiver for the traffic impact, and I think that covers it.
Okay, so now Mr. Go to Mr. DeVay. Yes, sir.
Yes, so, Madam Chair, I still haven't heard the testimony that says that why do you need such a large 3 units on the small property? So I would prefer that they bring it down next time when they come back around 0.45, 0.46 FAR.
Okay, what's the board's feeling on that from everyone? So at least this way, when they go back, they know what they're dealing with. If you want it lower and agree with Mr. DeVay, let us hear it now, so this way they know where they stand. Mr. O'Gorman.
You had mentioned that the reason it was because it's in a commercial area, correct?
Yeah, I think the testimony is, and Mr. Leoncavallo alluded to it, is that the FAR in your industrial or commercial areas is much lower because you don't want to have huge structures overwhelming a lot. By comparison, your FAR in the RB zone is 0.44. Here it's 0.30 in the LB zone. So I think there's a justification for it. I think Mr. Leoncavallo talked about the fact that in balancing, it's really a balancing test, but we're providing a situation now where we're fully compliant with the residential site improvement standards by putting that parking lot on the site. If we didn't put a parking lot on site, A, we wouldn't be compliant, and you could, if we were to continue the same use, you're going to have cars parking on Moisey Place, which I don't think anybody wants to see from fire safety, et cetera, so.
Aren't you seeking 0.59? You're not looking 0.44, 0.45.
No, I said in the RB zone, if this was a residential, if we were looking to put a 3-family structure in the RB single-family zone, I could have an FAR of 0.44.
Correct, but you're still looking 0.59 though.
Yeah, you're still going 14 over.
Okay.
We are, but I think the justification for that and the balancing, and that's something the board will have to consider, is the benefit of providing the parking on site for 3 families, which you don't have now, results in us going up higher, that's all.
Yeah, but as Mr. Bignell pointed out, I think it's fair to you to know what the board is thinking, because we don't want you spinning all these wheels if they aren't going to go with the 0.59. My gut reaction is I would like to see lesser FAR. Anybody else have any 2 cents to add to all of this?
Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. DeVay. Microphone.
My concern, it would set a precedent. There are a lot of 100 by 75 lots in the township. Everybody's going to seek for this kind of 3-bedroom, 3-family houses.
Anybody else? Input, please? Before we send them away?
Actually, Madam, I do understand Mr. Davi's point. Again, the location of this is really in a commercial-centered area, so I don't know if that's going to have so much of an impact on the surrounding homes.
I have a question. The footprint of what is there now is what versus the footprint of what will be there? Because what's there now is almost like a 1 floor. And this is giving us an FAR because we're talking about 3 floors. So what is the footprint versus the footprint? Does that make sense? Microphone. Footprint of what's there now as opposed to the footprint that will be there. Well, hold it. Microphone.
It is in your drawing, I believe sheet number 2. If you look at the plan set, sheet number 2.
Yeah, but
Yeah, this is the floor.
yeah, I know, but what are the dimensions? I want to know what
the
that
dimension-
footprint is, and I want to know what the footprint is of the new building. And is it the FAR really being caused because we're talking about more than 1 floor? And the footprint is not that much different. unless it is.
Actually, that's an excellent question, Madam Chairwoman.
I'm glad. See, do you want to hire me too?
I would love to hire you. I can give you the footprint because I could take it off of Mr. Caselli's.
Okay. So what's there now?
I'm going to have Mr. Young tell you what's there now, and I'm going to tell you what the footprint will be.
Okay. Well, microphone, we can't hear you.
Okay.
All together now.
It's approximately 54 feet by 25 feet.
54 by 25, okay.
That's
And
1,200 square feet.
okay.
Yeah.
And now, I mean, the new?
The new is, the footprint's 1474. So it,
The new is, the outside dimension is 50 by 31.
Oh, you got the square footage on the
50,
red
yeah.
form.
Well, I want to get it on record. I'm sorry. It's what?
1,474.31.
Okay, so we're talking a difference of 200 square feet?
Yes.
200 square feet.
Yes.
Okay. Does that make any difference to the board, the fact that that's what we're talking about in difference, and the FAR is coming because of the fact that it's the 3 stories? Or would the board still like to see it lowered a little bit?
Oh, Madam Chair,
Yes, Mr. Bignell?
maybe the question is, what would the floor area ratio be with a 2-story building as a 2 levels instead of 3 levels?
Okay, yes.
Be 2,800 square feet.
Mr. Sachs?
I mean, that gives you more, apples to apples.
Yeah.
Well, right now, we have a legal apartment in the basement. We have a legal
But
apartment.
let's forget what we have now.
Right,
We're
okay.
worried about what we are going to have. And Mr. Bignell makes a good point. Instead of having the 3 stories, you have the 2 stories, and you have less of an FAR.
Well, no, but then I'm going to expand the footprint of the building because to accommodate those 3 families, I have to have a larger building. The way the design is that the first floor has 1 apartment. The second level of this structure will have kitchen, living room, dining room, and then the third floor will have the bedrooms. So if I wanted to have 5 bedrooms with 2 floors, I'm going to have a larger footprint building. So I'm actually going to increase the impervious coverage on the site. I'm going to increase the lot coverage on the site. So, I mean, I understand.
I'm not good at construction and things of that sort, but you can't just bring in the building 200 square feet by going this way and still having it set up the same?
We might be.
So the footprint is almost the same, so say a 300 square foot footprint?
I think, Madam Chair, the only way it's going to work is reduce the size of the apartment.
Well, that's what I'm saying, reduce the size
Or
of the
reduce
footprint, yeah.
Or reduce the 1 floor.
Excuse me, wait.
Or reduce 1 floor, he said.
Well, reducing 1 floor, if I want to get it back, if I want to reconstruct the same 3-family house I have there now, will result in other variances being incurred on this, which will certainly be a detriment to the community. I'm going to have a lot coverage problem. I'm going to have an impervious coverage problem. I'm probably going to aggravate my setbacks even more. So I understand the board's resistance to some degree. I can talk to my client about possibly reducing the footprint somewhat. I don't think I can get it down to 1,200 square feet and make it a workable project. I mean, in essence, what you're doing is you're almost zoning this out of inutility. It's the only remaining residential lot in the zone, in a commercial zone. So
Let me ask you a question. Is this building currently abandoned?
it's not rented out. I wouldn't say it's abandoned, but no one's living there.
No one's living there. How long has that been unoccupied?
A year. About a year.
About a year.
Well, you know where we stand, so see what you can do and come back then. You know our feelings, it's so. Yes, Mr. Ayotte, I'm sorry.
I'd like to get a more firmer date of how long it's been abandoned.
Oh,
About a year might be 2 years.
yeah, I'm not sure.
If it's longer than 18 months, then they lose the use. And the
Oh.
use is abandoned.
Oh,
So I'd like to have a firmer date of how long it's been abandoned, how long it's been unoccupied.
Mr. Ayat, if I wasn't, if I was accept the abandonment argument, I'm still here for a D1 use variance, so it sort of doesn't mean much at that point.
But the use becomes abandoned, so it cannot continue. The new use has to be conforming.
No, but I understand what you're saying, but if I were seeking a certificate of nonconformity, then the abandonment
Yes,
argument would come in. I'm not seeking a certificate of nonconformity, so.
Yeah, but the board at that point could say then it's only a two-family or whatever. So that's the argument. So he's trying to figure out if it's permitted, or you're relying on the fact that it's an abandoned three-family or an existing three-family. If it's abandoned, you've lost the use if it's more than 18 months. That's what our ordinance says. So we're hoping that's not the case. But if it is, then you can't rely on the fact that it was a three-family.
Yeah, it's a year. We'll provide some information at the next time we come back.
Okay, so when you come back, you have to provide the information on how long it's been empty. You have to provide fiscal impact. You have to straighten out with Mr. Carley about the seepage pit. And you have to decide what you want to do about the FAR.
And we'll let you know about the electric charging station.
And the electric charging station. And the FAR. Yeah, the waiver was for the traffic, but the fiscal impact they have to come back with. So that's where we stand. Consideration, as I say, I'm not a builder, so I have no idea. If you don't want to make it smaller by footprint, just not have the bottom floor and have the two floors that you have set up now for the second. The two top floors, just make that one come down this way and that one come down that way, and you're reducing the FAR.
I think the problem then is I will not be able to comply with the RSIS to provide parking. So if the trade-off with the municipality.
Wait a minute, hold it. Why couldn't you, if it's the same size of the building and you just don't have a bottom floor and the two floors are what you have now as the two side ones, then what does that have to do with that? You have the same amount of parking, right, Mr. Miguel?
If you have two-bedroom units as opposed to three, you'd only have to have 4 spaces.
And you have the same thing. It's up to you. I mean,
I understand.
I'm just throwing ideas out
Stop winging it.
where I am, and that's it. So having said all of that, Cassandra, when can we carry this to so I can make an announcement? What is August filled? Because we only have one meeting.
We had one back out of August, but is August enough time to get all of this information? I don't want to.
Yeah.
When is your August meeting?
August is the 30th.
Yeah,
If not, I have September 13th and September 20th.
Just don't use the bottom floor.
Madam Chairwoman,
Yes.
I've just spoken with my client, and with all due respect, I don't really believe we can reduce the size of this building. So with our other option is we can consider just remodeling this building, and we're just going to apply for a building permit. And I don't believe the use has been abandoned, and you won't have any. Unfortunately, you won't have any off-street parking, so we're just going to leave it the way it is. I don't like saying this to the board, but the floor area ratio situation, I understand everybody's got their own thought on what the FAR should be, but my belief on evaluating an FAR as a municipal attorney for the last 39 years, and I've sat in thousands of planning and zoning meetings, not thousands, but let's say over 1,000, because I've been doing this for 40 years, 27 years as a municipal attorney for several towns, is that you just can't look hard and fast at what the FAR ratio is. You have to take everything under the circumstances of what's being proposed. And I understand we're going to an FAR of 0.59, where you require only 0.30 in the zone. But that zone is a commercial zone. That zone is a zone that permits heavy, intensive uses. And the reason for having that FAR is to prevent a large bulk structure from being erected on a piece of property.
Yeah, okay. All right, go ahead. Well, let's put it this way. Even if it was 44, you're still looking for 59.
Correct.
Okay, so you've said what you said, so now I will go to the board, because if the board feels that they cannot accept the 59, there's no sense of having them go back and do everything that we've asked for. So, yes, Ms. Shaw, how do we handle that?
I think you can have a discussion, but until you're ready to call it to a vote and go out to the public, I don't
Right.
think you can ask them exactly how they're going to vote. So I
Okay.
don't know if that's, just be cautious.
Yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
asking you, right,
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
asking you to tell me how you're going to vote, but I wouldn't mind hearing from all the board members as to what their sentiments are. And let me just add one other point here. I know Mr. Dave mentioned, you're setting precedent here. No, you're not. You're absolutely not setting any precedent, because this is the only residential developed lot on this street. It is completely surrounded by commercial uses, industrial uses, a railroad track. And I think, as I stated earlier, I wouldn't come before you and propose a 0.59 FAR in a residential zone that requires a 0.44, because I know that would be burdensome and a detriment to the surrounding residential neighborhood. Based on Mr. Leoncavallo's testimony, I don't see any detriment to anybody here. None whatsoever, because we don't have any residential neighbors. Our neighbors are shopping centers and parking lots and offices. That's our neighbors. But thank you. Ms. Shaw, yes, you don't have to.
Okay, so
I'm not
what Mr.
suggesting you have to tell me
Mr.
how you're gonna
Sachs has asked for an idea from the board what everyone's feelings are. So, want to start down here, Mr. DeVay?
We want to put on spot. We are not, they have to come back again with other issues as well, right?
Correct.
Right, so we told them what we're looking for.
Okay, got it.
Why you're putting everybody on spot
Well,
at this
he
point
wanted
without hearing everything?
an idea. Okay, whatever. Well, you have what you have, so
I mean,
you tell us.
if you really want to, you can reduce the size of the apartment, you still bring the FAR down.
Yes, you could bring it
Okay,
down a little
that's
bit.
what
I
we are
agree.
looking for.
Okay.
That's what we are looking for,
I mean,
simple.
That I thought was kind of obvious from the beginning, correct? Yeah. So having said all that, what date would you like? I think Cassandra gave you a choice of 3 dates.
If you want, you can put us on for August 30th. And if we can't, I'll let you know, Cassandra, if we're going to have an issue.
Okay. Okay, so we're not going out to the public until we get the rest of the information. There will be no new notice. This is the notice that this will be carried to August the 30th, the August 30th meeting. No new notice. And at that point, we'll resume the hearing and then we'll go out to the public. Okay, thank you. Cassandra, let's go to the resolutions, please. And then we
Good night, everyone. Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good evening and stay healthy and safe.
You too.
And see you next month.
Okay.
You want to go to the resolutions and then we have a closed session.
Okay, so for the resolutions, I'm actually going to split it up into 2 groups. We have had some members absent for 2 of them, and then we've had some new members come on.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break it down 2 groups of 2, and I'll call a roll call and have everybody vote
great.
individually.
Okay, great.
Okay, so the first 2 that I'm going to call is for case Z21-2022, SRIG LLC, Better Living Sunrooms. And can I have a motion for that resolution?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Roll call.
Thank you. Mr. Skibar?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. O'Gorman?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Siddhartha?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Patel?
Yes on the motion.
Vice Chair Kamba?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairwoman Federick?
Yes on the motion.
Thank you. And again, the second one is Markham Developers, case number Z13-2021, granted. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second. I'm sorry, we're still doing business yet.
This applies to.
Please have a seat. We are still doing business yet. Please have a seat. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Cassandra.
That's okay. A roll call for a motion to approve. Mr. Skibar?
No.
On the motion.
Okay.
Mr. Barone?
Yes.
Mr. O'Gorman?
Yes, on the motion.
Mr. Siddhartha?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Patel?
Yes on the motion.
Vice Chair Kamba?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairwoman Federick?
Yes on the motion.
Okay.
Okay,
Next
keep
one
going.
is AK Realty, case number Z34, 2021, granted. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion approved.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Skibar?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Patel?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Barone?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Dave?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Siddhartha?
Yes on the motion.
Vice Chair Kamba?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairwoman Federick?
Yes on the motion.
And the last one is Leon Properties, case number Z3, 2022. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Mr. Skibar?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Patel?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Barone?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Dave?
Yes on the motion.
Mr. Siddhartha?
Yes on the motion.
Vice Chair Kamba?
Yes on the motion.
And Chairwoman Federick?
Yes on the motion.
Thank you.
Okay, we're all done. Okay, now we need a motion to go to closed session.
Make a motion to go into closed session.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Ben, you have to take us off.
We on?
Are we on?
We got more?
Okay, we on? Okay.
Make a motion to reconvene.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Last motion of the night, gentlemen?
Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, everyone. Stay safe and healthy. See everybody next month.
No, I'm good, thank you.
No, I'm fine. I'm gonna get rid of this. Sorry, I have everything everywhere.
Oh, crap. No. Cassandra, you and I got to have a meeting at some point. You and I gotta talk at some point.
We do.
I know.
You leave it back. No, wait, I don't know who this. No.
The schedule.
Can I go now?
Everything.
Yeah, go.
Training more of everything.